Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to my very first YouTube video. I decided to start a little project in which I will completely render a painting from start to finish, including composition. It's something that I've never tried before. This is my first full attempt at a composition, and then I'm going to redraw it and see what kind of improvements I can make after doing a little bit of self-critique. So with this first drawing, I am starting off with some roses with the intent of doing some negative space painting in the background. I was really happy with my initial pencil sketch actually, which ended up being a point of frustration nearing the end as I made some pretty stellar mistakes that kind of ruined it. The first one being I actually reached for the wrong paper. I had every intention of using watercolor paper, and yet when I started my painting, for some reason I grabbed drawing paper, which is not appropriate for watercolor. A second big mistake that I made was that I didn't have the foresight to save my reference photos. So you'll notice as this first painting goes along, I lose a lot of the detail that I had in my original pencil sketches. I also lost most of my pencil lines, so I really had nothing to go off of, and I was doing essentially some guesswork, and I really wasn't happy with the way the painting rendered by the end. But I did find this negative space painting technique extremely fun to work with. I, used progressively smaller brushes and added a little bit of some black at the end to cool it down and push those final leaves into the background. Oh yeah, here's those terrible roses. I'm really not happy with the way the roses turned out, but it was a really fun experience. Another interesting issue that I seem to have with this is that this was an entirely new experience for me in regards to recording myself, and I'm just recording on my phone and using a little phone stand, and that's been going okay. But I had an issue getting it lined up properly, and I was having issues with it stop recording when I wasn't paying attention. So there's lots of pieces missing here. So we're going to jump in now. It's already been playing that I'm doing my second drawing, and already I've started off with a very different approach. I decided to mask off my flowers, which you can see me taking off here. Something I found a little frustrating is that I left my masking fluid on for about 2 days, which ended up being too long. The flower on the left and the flower on the right both ended up being torn up a little bit as I was taking the masking fluid off, which you can see here. The textures is not quite the way it should be, although I did end up very happy with the way the middle flower turned out. The left and the right one not so much, and you can actually see some remnants there of the masking fluid that just did not want to come off, but I didn't want to wreck the paper any more than I already had, so I just left it. The stems I'm not too thrilled with. I liked where I was going with it and making them very desaturated, and I was hoping they would fade into the background, but they were too dark. The value on them was just too dark, and they essentially disappeared, and that's not quite what I was going for. So that was a little disappointing. Here I'm working on the middle flower, and I was a lot happier with whoa, that's where I dropped my phone. I'm a lot happier with the rendering on this flower. It actually looks like a rose. So that was really cool. And this is the first time I've ever successfully painted a rose. I draw them with graphite all the time, and I really enjoy them, and I feel like my skills are getting pretty good with that, but as far as painting them, I can never quite seem to make it work. But this time I was very happy with it. So I'm just filling in, deepening up those values in each color, or in each flower. And now you're going to see me in a moment here. I'm going to start adding a little bit of detail to the leaves in the background. Now I actually skipped out on a big detail of rose leaves in which the edges of them are kind of serrated a little bit, and by the time I had on my second piece, I was already pretty exhausted by this, especially with so many failures with the first one, and I chose not to serrate the edges of the leaves, and I kind of wish I had done that. I think it would have added a lot more interest to this piece. I instead decided to draw in some of the veins nearing the end, and it just didn't work quite the way I was hoping it would. I actually, about a third of the way through doing those leaves, I changed my mind, and I actually just added a little bit of a hint of the veins of the leaves and didn't go much further than that, and I actually liked the result of that better than me attempting to fully vein the leaves. Now I'm working on this far right rows here, and I kind of wish I had taken those values a little bit deeper because the actual final piece is pretty difficult to tell how the petals are working up at the top. So I wish I had taken a little bit longer and put a little bit more dark in there so that you could tell the difference about where the leaves were separated. All right, so I just want to say thank you to everybody. Nearing the end, I just want to say thank you to everybody for watching this video, if anybody even sees it. I'm really excited for this personal project of seeing how I can improve myself if I just keep working and redoing paintings instead of just going, well, that worked, or well, that didn't work too much, and then just moving on from there. I'm hoping to get 2 of these videos out a month. I'm going to switch between using watercolor and probably just working on my drawing skills either through charcoal or graphite, which seems to be what I enjoy there. And yeah, here we go. I'm just finishing up these leaves, and I just wanted to say thanks everybody for watching, and I'm so excited to try this personal project, and hopefully my video skills improve along with my art skills. It'll be very exciting to tell. And you're about to get to see the 2 paintings side by side.